Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much. Me. I mean Matthew. Yes, this is about Matthew. Here we are. We're just going to talk normally like we do in the studio. Anyway, Matthew, I wanted to ask you questions about your movies. What are they about?
Well, it's like when a solid turns into a gas, and... Oh, I'm sorry, you were asking me a question, and I wasn't paying attention, as I rarely do. And it hurts my head to think about, which is why I'm trying to say that art makes exhibits, and exhibits make art, and art makes you. And what you have there is a beautiful metamorphosis. It's why I'm here tonight with all the little beavers. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the little people coming out, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But it's very esoteric. It has a sort of je ne sais quoi that you can't put your finger on. And when you make your hand go around in circles, you also are painting. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And it may not make a whole lot of sense, but the fact that I am surrounded by elderly beavers tonight is just a joy and a wonder, because without them paying the $100 entrance ticket fee for one of my exhibits at the Guggenheim downstate, we wouldn't be here. We'd be just beavers. Just little beavers. And I'm so much better than that. You see, I have 7-course lunches at Cran's, which is a fancy restaurant in New York. And all I'm saying is that most of the people in the audience tonight who are playing bingo will never experience the delightful delicacies that are served there. So that's all I'm trying to say. Is I'm better than most of you, if not all of you. Yeah, another good question would be, what are my movies about? And that's what you said, but I wasn't listening. And that's okay. I like to talk to myself. It's something I just tend to do, and I look around and I'm thinking, wow, I talk to myself a lot. But then I look back and I see you sitting there and I think, who is this pink sock pedantic wearing moppet? And I just look at you and the sight of you disgusts me, which is just something I don't like to deal with on a daily basis. I'm going through some rough times right now, It's been very hard on me, and I don't like to think that the world is surrounded by beavers like you, and I just want to be rich and powerful, and I love money. Money is my favorite thing. I used to wipe myself with denominations of money you don't
Really?
even know exist. So,
Well, the question on everyone's lips tonight, Matthew, is the butt rock, the hinder, the shine down.
well, if you're asking me what part music plays in my exhibits, it would be Tibetan death chants. Nothing but Tibetan death chants. It's hours upon end of nothing but just the sounds of monks mourning their fallen compadres. And you just hear, and I think it's beautiful to listen to, if you know what I'm saying, because when you listen to the funerary incantations of Tibetan death monks, you oftentimes find yourself put into a state of trance, which is kind of why I have this headache. Because all I did today on the car ride here with Kurt was listen to that music over and over again. And we had a good time waxing his car earlier today. And I'm very grateful that he and Goldie have given me a place to stay. Sometimes when I talk, my lips don't match what I'm saying, and that's okay. I just have this damned headache, and it won't leave me be. And like I said, I've been going through some rough financial times lately, and they're very difficult. They're not fun to be around. You know, I have my ex-wife, Bjork's lawyers after me, and that's not good because it's something when you have roving packs of lawyers who follow you everywhere you go, and they're probably outside right now. I think that I am an artist. And there's nothing that they can take away from that because when you're an artist, you really put your lips together and just pucker up to the world and say, "Hello, world. I'm Matthew Barney, director of the Cremaster Cycle, and my latest exhibit, River of Fundament." So that's what I have to say to all these lawyers and doctors and people who try to get me to sign their papers that I just don't want to sign, and I'm not going to, because I'm so very lucky that, you know, a wealthy man like Kurt Russell and his wife Goldie Hawn have given me a place to live and continue my art in the basement, which is fully furnished and paneled, and you know, there's these two beanbag chairs down there that I sleep on. And sometimes late at night, I like to jump up and down on them and pretend that I'm a spaceman in my jammies. And, you know, sometimes Kurt brings me juice boxes. And I'm very grateful for that, but I completely forget what your original question was because I stopped listening again, and you're going to have to forgive me for that.
Well, I think the original question, Matthew, was the butt rock, the hinder, the shine down, the sea, the yeah. I was just curious as to your thoughts, but it is no matter. Anyway, your relationship with your ex-wife,
Oh
Bjork,
my.
was it?
No,
Yes.
no, please don't even bring her up. She is pure evil. And it pains me to think about all the horrors and atrocities committed in her name that have taken place over the last, I want to say 2 decades now, because I don't really follow her music. I didn't put any of it in my exhibits because, I mean, have you listened to Bjork? I mean, she's just terrible. And I want nothing to do with that woman. And, you know, Kurt has... Well, I kind of lost my train of thought. But Norman Mailer is an author who I based one of my exhibits off of. And he's kind of esoteric, a little bit like me. I think he died in 2003, but that's what I did the one exhibit about. Once again, I've completely forgotten your question, and I'm just going to trail off and talk about what I like, because I've got this nagging headache, and it's really aching at the back of my skull, and all I want to do is take an Anacin and lie down. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. But I like to think that if I had listened to what you asked me, I would probably be answering your question based on what you said. But that's not what I'm doing right now at all. I'm just taking advantage of you. I'm taking advantage of this whole situation because it's quick cash. It's just cash for gold. Yeah, cash for gold. And I think that what I'm doing here tonight is as sellout as Matthew Barney can get. And that's okay. I have no issues with myself right now because this headache is really wearing on me. And, you know, the little beavers out there are just so supportive of me, you know, except with the Hard Hat Harry video on YouTube, where I got slammed for it, and I don't know why. It was like they acted like I had nothing to do with this project, and that I was some sort of a-hole, and that's just what happened.
Yes.
It was ugly.
Yes, Matthew. It was an ugly affair, wasn't it? I've seen the comments section. It's a war zone. Ooh. But we know the hard hat Harry Matthew. We know the Bjork Matthew. And we know Matthew Barney. Up here on the screen, Matthew, we have something that... Well, Matthew, what am I looking at? Sometimes I see things of your creation with my eyes. And I ask myself... What am I looking at?
Well, what you're looking at here is a little piece I did back in 1998, and I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to represent. I was high on peyote at the time, and I was just having a lovely trip. I got up in the morning with the band The Eagles and had some peyote tea, and I said to myself, guys, let's just make something crazy. And we went to this empty warehouse, which you see here. And, we stood around for a little while before we put down what would eventually become this exhibit, which I have named Exhibit 0144. We couldn't think of a better name. But it's really quite delightful because, as I said, we were all high on peyote at the time. Peyote buttons, and our minds, oh dear, you were not supposed to see that. Could someone please get that down off the screen? Oh. All right, well, I might as well explain it while it's up there. What you're seeing is people adorned in white, and they're dancing around some sort of fire. Again, this is from River of Fundament. But I don't really remember what we were doing that day. I think this is some B-roll, and I just, sometimes I amaze myself, because if art can confuse, it can bewilder, and it can induce bewilderment. And I honestly don't know who put this up on the big Teletron, and I'm not sure why they did that. I don't even know. This one's from my private collection, and you were not supposed to see this, and hopefully no more pictures from my private collection got in there, because that would just be awful, and I don't want you to see the art that I don't want you to see. I only want you to see the art that I want you to see, but very limitedly. Does that make any sense to you? No, I suppose when you're just a small-minded beaver. And that's okay. I'm just so far above you. And I love to think that when I create, it's solely for myself. I am an artist who creates only for himself. Not for you, not for them, not for the beavers out there in the stage playing bingo. I'm not on the stage. Out in the audience playing bingo. This is just for me. Me, 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 me. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I still...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is that I am so important, and once upon a time had so much money, but now have no money and am a starving artist, if you will. And that's not okay. It's not, because artists, there was a fly there, artists should not be starving. They should live atop the Chrysler building and have 3,000 thread count pajamas and be able to eat caviar on expensive stick crackers and enjoy all sorts of fondue fountains and strange little food.
Yes, okay.
Oh, you're talking.
Matthew. It is a two-sided conversation, Matthew. Anyway, so our next exhibit, if you will, yes, this, I believe it's on screen now. It appears to be a beehive-like contraption. Once again, Matthew, what do my eyes see?
Well, I made this when I was in Detroit, and I call this water castings, and I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking when I made this. It is, in fact, what you think it is. It is beehives that I have sculpted, And that is what I am by trade. I am a sculptor, not a filmmaker, as some have been led to believe by the Hard Hat Harry's comment section. But I made these out of stray hornets' nests that I sent some little beavers out to collect, and they did not come back in one piece. They were badly stung, and just thinking about it gives me a headache, because I had to pay their medical bills, and that was no fun at all. So what it really represents is bees. But enough about me. Let's talk about me. So there's going to be some more pictures coming up on the Jumbotron later. But I just really want to continue talking about me. And, time permitting, Kurt and John, who have been very kind, and Goldie too. But, oh, my head. Do you have any Anison at all? No, of course you don't. So circular motions is what you want to do when you're painting and sculpting, because it's just very important. You have to have your hand motions down perfectly, because if you don't, you get jagged edges and they're no fun. And you want to level it out, just level, and then hammer it down. Because if you can't cast iron, you can't do jack, as the kids on the street say. I completely am at a loss for words as to how little the children of today appreciate art. And it's not because I don't let them see my art, my fantastic exhibits. There is a $90 cover fee at the Guggenheim, which is where most of my art is exhibited. And I like to think that if they can work for the money, then they deserve to see my art. No flash photography is allowed there, because I don't want pictures of my art floating around the internet and then a bunch of mean comments coming up saying Matty B is an asshole. That's just not who I am. And I think it makes me tear up a little. So if we look back up at the Jumbotron, okay, nothing's coming up yet. I'm just rambling on, as I tend to do, and I could tell you a little bit more about Kurt and Goldie and John Leguizamo, my good friend John Leguizamo, but I think we got something coming up here good on the Teletron. Yes, there it is. This is a deleted scene from Hard Hat Harry Real Life Construction for Kids. I think this is from the alternate ending, where we took the two kids and just tossed them into this molten pit of lava. And again, as many of you who have watched the entire video know, the one child was not a child at all, but was in fact a little person. And, my father had some apprehensions about little people growing up, and he grew up in a circus, Matthew Barney Sr., and he was always afraid. He said he had dreams of being chased by little people dressed as clowns or mimes or even mummers. And so, when we sacrificed this dwarven fellow to the gods, I didn't feel the least bit bad as he screamed and dissolved, kind of like at the end of Terminator 2, except without the dignity. So what we have here is just, a still shot, and I think it's beautiful. And I shaved off my beard for this, and I'm coming down, from my peyote high. And I just look around and think, dear God, there is a lot of cotton heads in the audience tonight, and they're just pressing buttons. Wait, how did that get up there? What? Seriously, someone take that down. That you're not supposed to see that. Get that off the screen, please. Okay, why are we zooming in? It's bad enough that it's there, but why is it zooming in?
Oh
my
dear.
God, what the hell is going on? Someone please
Matthew,
stop it.
Matthew,
Okay.
Matthew, calm down. Ooh, I'm sure it was just an error made by someone on the Jumbotron. Moving on to the next question. Let me see here. I need to wave my hands up and down in a circular motion for a little bitty bit. There we go. Ooh, Matthew, your iconic beard, known and loved, even feared by millions. Why, Matthew? Why did you shave it off?
It's my turn to talk now. Why did I shave off the beard? That's a very handsome question. It wasn't so much the beard and the hair that was the problem. It was that I was clogging up Kurt's drain and the lice. I had been living outside in Seneca for a while, and as you may know from some of the commentaries that I did on some of the videos I had been working on or had not worked on, I was quite out there, and I had accumulated a large number of bugs in my beard, and Kurt said that I could either shave the beard or I could get out.
I see. Well, West Seneca, what can we say? Known for its lice and its trolls. Yes, fat ones at that. Up here on screen, we have another thing that you have created, an exhibit, if you will. Ooh, one which I cannot quite describe. What am I looking at here with my eyes? Again, Matthew.
Well, this one here is obviously a square in front of some wooden structure. Again, in a warehouse, as I am so obsessed with them. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a square hitting the ground, melting in a warehouse. I don't know what else you want from me. I'm not really trying to say anything with my art. I just do art because I can. And this is a prime example of that. It is nothing more than a square hitting the ground in front of some wooden structure in a warehouse. So, I mean, when I did this, it was really, really simple to do because all you get... Oh, no, not again. Could someone take that down, please? I don't know what this is. I don't know where this came from. Oh, okay, so I don't even know where we're going with this. I'm going to keep talking about the square. The square was very important because I'm sorry, this is just a little too distracting. What am I looking at? This looks like it was made by someone on Photoshop who had way too much free time on their hands. And I don't... How did this even get onto my Funberry mobile? I'm confused. But then again, I suppose confusion goes hand in hand with art. And it's okay to be confused when you look at my art because my art is confusing. It is meant to bewilder and bemuse those around it. So let's look back up at the Jumbotron. We're gonna get another picture. Hopefully no more of that Tim stuff. I don't know where that's coming from or why. So I'm a little perplexed as to where that was coming from, but let's look. Let's take a look. Is it there? Is it working? Yeah, there it is. Okay, this one is a bunch of women surrounding a box in a white room. Again, I don't know what this means. I just sort of got a bunch of people together one day and we just sort of made it. It's not artistic. It's not interesting. It's just confusing and bewildering. And that's what I really go for with my art. I don't really try to make anything that says something, if that makes any sense. I am simply trying to confuse and bemuse my audiences. What's going on? What's happening? What? Oh no, please no, please take it down immediately. That is not from my Funberry mobile pod. What? Oh, I'm scared. Please get rid of it. Please. I'm terrified. This image terrifies me and shocks me. And I find it gross and offensive. And just... My jimmies are thoroughly rustled. This, I don't even think I made this. This is probably something from my art collection in the Mat Bunker, which is a place where I keep a lot of my art that you'll never see, that was made by other people, not me, but other artists that I admire. Not nearly as good artists as I am, of course, but it's, you shimmy back and forth, and when you shimmy, you, again, losing my train of thought, as I have been this whole time. And that's okay. I really, like I said, not trying to say anything with my art.
Matthew,